Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name is Timothy Skedson. I am the president of Global Brand Force at HeiQ Materials AG. We are, and I'll give you some overview, a Swiss-based material sciences company specializing in technical textile finishes that add value and consumer awareness to the products that you are developing from a fabric and product development perspective. We were founded in 2005. We were a spin-off from ETH, which is the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. And we make only technical textile finishes. We do not make fibers. We do not make textiles. We count on our partners in the manufacturing area to do that for us. But when we make any of these finishes, we take into account what is most important from you as a designer or developer, and that is the traditional textile attributes that you rely on when you're developing a new product. So hand feel, color fastness, crocking, elasticity, tensile strength, any of those attributes that you need in a fabric to make garments or footwear, none of our finishes will in any way adversely affect any of those attributes. So you can develop and design in confidence that adding a HeiQ technical textile finish will only add value, and performance will not detract from what you normally look for. What is the issue? Sourced and renewable. So we tick all the boxes from a safety standpoint to a sustainability standpoint to bringing hygiene and freshness to the consumer. Next, please. So if you're a brand on the call, what are your consumers looking for and what are they willing to pay a premium for? Considerable consumer-based research, both in North America and the EU, has shown that about 15% of our consumers or people polled are interested in odor resistance, 6% in moisture management, temperature control or thermal regulation, 18%, and water repellency is the highest of 95%. But interestingly enough, 56% of consumers answered that they'd actually pay twice as much for a product containing odor control or odor resistance. So that is good from a brand revenue and margin perspective. The fact that our consumers are willing to pay more for this technology, I think bodes well to the bottom line and the health of the industry, but also getting the brand's integrity and the brand's footprint and image within the consumers as more important. Next slide, please. So what are odors? I mean, that's a very simple question. There are good odors, there are bad odors, things that we associate with good, depending on who you are, anything from fragrances to the smell of a fresh espresso or a freshly baked loaf of bread. On the other side, and of course, all odors have that olfactory experience because of what's called volatile organic compounds or VOCs. Not to be confused with the current use of that acronym being variants of concern, which we are seeing globally with regards to the COVID epidemic or pandemic. So we have both good and bad odors. Our olfactory nerves in our nose determine which of those affect us in which way, either a pleasant odor, a rose in the springtime, or a smelly pair of running socks. So it depends on what type of VOC, but our human nose and our olfactory system reacts differently to the various VOCs that are present. And they are everywhere. It's not a bad thing. It's just a fact. Next one, please. So what do we know? Did you know, actually, that sweat in and of itself does not smell? Sweat caused from nerves or anxiety tends to have a more pungent odor than normal workout smell. What adds to the smell and the odor is the gram-positive bacteria. In normal flora and fauna, we have gram-negative and gram-positive. one of the main odor-causing gram-positive bacteria that's present in millions upon our skin is Staphylococcus aureus. So that is one of the main culprits that cause the odor from our perspiration that's in our skin and on our skin constantly. From the moment we wake up in the morning, take our shower, towel off, that bacteria starts to grow. It's natural. By sweating, we transport the moisture and the nutrients into our textile, which in turn feeds the bacteria, causing it to grow. So as you enhance or increase the number of colonies of bacteria, the odor factor increases. So bacteria then feed on fats and proteins in the smelly acids or in the volatile organic compounds, and that gives you that acrid, smelly odor typically associated with the permastink in fabric. So that rancid butter smell, for example. So the bottom little infographic is quite useful. Bacteria times heat or temperature increase, adding fats and proteins from the sweat plus moisture, and the hosting surface, which is our textile, which we're all wearing, leads to sweaty odor volatile organic compounds. Next slide, please. So what is the solution? Well, we propose a rather unique solution, a little bit different than what's been up until now mainly touted, and this is a non-biocidal version, so no antimicrobial efficacy or performance whatsoever. So HeiQ Fresh is basically a family of products within the HeiQ range of ingredient branded products, of which we have both odor control and volatile organics management, but we also have products that do address odors and bacteria in different fashions by different modes of action. But in this particular case, we're focusing on what's called HeiQ Fresh FFL, so sustainable odor control. Next slide, please. So here's really where we're focusing. We can prevent odor generation by removing one or more of the precursors that are found in our normal perspiration. And we can neutralize those odor compounds by binding to them and rendering them non-volatile anymore. So the middle solution is the silver-free. We use an amino sugar polymer. We're going to use the acronym ASP moving forward. You can also, we have another product that's not really suitable for textile apparel that is a zeolite odor absorber called HeiQ Fresh HAX that is more suitable for non-washable items. But here we're focusing on wash durable textile apparel type solution. Again, we also have the full range of silver-based products, but we realize that a lot of our brand partners are looking to segue away, and depending geographically where in the world you are, specifically Scandinavia, there's considerable pushback against metal-based or silver-based antimicrobials. So that's why we developed HeiQ Fresh FFL non-metal based. So we can move on, please. And again, we can, there we go. So bio-based amino sugar polymers. This is really how we tackle odor. The product is renewable, the product is sustainable, the product is readily available, and what it does is it will neutralize those odor compounds found in sweat and in the garment textile itself. The textile is really the issue here because that is the breeding ground and the place where the odorous compounds can accumulate, and the more they accumulate, the more chance you have for a malodorous effect and potentially embarrassing or otherwise not wanted smell in the apparel, in the clothing. Next, please. So what the amino sugar polymers do is they actually, from a chemistry perspective, biological perspective, they have an opposite charge compared to the body odor VOCs. So opposite charges attract one another. ASPs bind the volatile organic compounds and reversibly to the fiber, so they can then be washed out. So you have a renewable, wash durable product. What happens between the VOCs and the odors or in the apparel is that you form a salt bridge between the two, going from being a free unassociated volatile to a bound volatile, which then is less odorous and not as offensive. So it is then dissolved during washing and you start all over again. So from a sustainability perspective, also from a water use perspective, we're finding that the garments stay fresher longer. So therefore you need fewer washings and therefore more sustainable from a water savings perspective. They're easily washed off, so then you have no accumulation. Sometimes when we see with synthetic fibers, especially many of the hollow core fibers, is that they hold on to those VOCs, they trap them inside the fiber, and it's over time virtually impossible to wash that smell out, try as you may. Some fibers more so than others, polypropylene being the main fiber that tends to really hold on to the smell. So this is what we're helping to try to address with this product. So it's every single wash, the whole process is regenerated, restarted, and keeps on going. We've seen with our brand partners that have been the early adopters out to 50x home launderings, which is clearly and easily better than industry standard and also typically life of garment. So again, from a sustainability perspective, the technology is going to last as long as you own the garment. Next slide, please. And then we'll go at the end, we'll go obviously back to questions. So here's a detailed mode of action. We don't necessarily need to go over all the chemical equations here, but the main issue, the main offending factor are the carboxylic acid groups, of which propionic acid is a main component, and that is a short chain fatty acid, which the bacteria feed on. That's one of their food sources. So what we do here is the amino groups, they chemisorb the short chain fatty acids. So you go from a free short chain fatty acid, which is volatile, which means it smells or can smell, to a bound short chain fatty acid, which is non-volatile. So when you remove the volatility, you remove the perception and the actual odor from the environment. So the action is directly between the odor molecules and the amino sugar polymer. So here is where we have the vital differentiation between metal-based antimicrobials. This is not an antimicrobial mechanism, so there is no biocidal effect with this technology. The bacteria on the skin that are naturally occurring and are stored or hosted in the fabric of the apparel are not in any way disrupted or killed, other than over time by starvation, because you're eliminating their food source with the short chain fatty acids. So if we move on, please. So it's a permanent, long-lasting, wash durable, odor capturing effect. The perception of sweat is drastically reduced, or the odor of sweat is drastically reduced because of the mineralization of the most prominent odor causing molecule, which in this case, in which we've seen in lab testing and has been confirmed over and over again by our brand partners, are those carboxylic acid groups, of which propionic acid is the main offending character. The volatility is strongly reduced. So again, when it's not volatile, you're not having the same odor issues, and the mode of action does not affect the microbe flora on either your skin or on the textile itself. And what we've seen by and large, by average, is a reduction of about 90+% of that propionic acid in the textile, with typical recommended, as per the TDS for the product, about a 4% weight of fabric loading in the bath. All of these products, as in all of the HeiQ technical textile finishes, are designed for ease of use at the mill. So if any of you are guests at this webinar at the mill level, all of our technologies can be applied either by padding in the foulard or by exhaust in the jet. There are no limitations with regards to fiber composition. So synthetics, naturals, fibers, blends, elastane-rich fabrics, and no restrictions or limitations with regards to knits, wovens, or non-wovens. So for many of you at the brand level, from a product development and product design perspective, you're not hindered in any way with your creativity or what functionality you're looking for by adding any of the HeiQ technical textile finishes. So a little digression there, but just from an ease of application, when we build these technical textile finishes, we build them with the mill in mind, so that ease of application, ease of use, no extra processes involved during the textile finishing step. So all of it is done at the final wet processing stage, which the mills are typically doing anyway. They're adding a softener or a wicking agent or what have you in the wet processing. We build these products to be compatible both on an ionic nature as well as from a pH value in the bath. Next slide, please. So where can it be used? Easy answer, pretty much anywhere. What we've seen with our early adopters, and we'll go through a short list of those later in this presentation, underwear, sports apparel, hiking shirts, cycling, fleece, socks, linings, and gloves, casual wear, business wear, home textiles, towels, especially terry towels, bed linen. It's ideally suited for next to skin because the moisture naturally occurring on our skin and our perspiration aids in the performance of the technology. The further away you go as far as layers are concerned, the less efficacious effect you will have because you want to be right down in the trenches where the volatiles exist. Again, applicable to all cellulosic fibers and synthetic fibers, as well as blends. Next, please. Where have we seen this in the market so far? About 3 years ago, we started introducing this. Our first early adopter was Old Navy in their Vortex t-shirt brand. They have since expanded across the entire Gap group and tested it consistently and at third-party level for quite a while before they made the decision. Kalida in Europe, Noordi, which is a brand under the Hanes umbrella, also in Europe. Here in North America, Orvis and Burton Snowbarts have been early adopters. We have several new coming on board that should be releasing within the next 6 to 9 months globally, and you'll all recognize some of those brands when they come on board. Next slide, please. How can it be tested? Well, 3 ways, basically. We strongly urge our brand partners to run comprehensive wearer trials, either with half and half treated garments or treated and untreated garments. The empirical lab testing data is crucial, is important, but really what we're looking for here is consumer perceptibility and performance metrics. So where you have actual wearers testing and trialing the technology, you get firsthand information to back up and correlate with the lab testing results you get. We offer amino sugar polymer coloration test as a QC step. So you can check at the lab level at the mill level in either bulk trials or production quite easily with this test to determine that the technology has been properly and accurately applied to the textile. And then we test to an industry standard ISO 17299 for a quantitative analysis of reduction of VOCs and odor absorption. Next slide, please. Wearer trials are crucial, as we've said. We offer also at HeiQ the service of we can actually build you and make and provide to you treated garments, whether you want treated versus untreated or half and half garments to get a proper response from your field testers. Can be t-shirts, can be hosiery, can be any number of things. We'll also assist you in the crafting of the questionnaire to your wearer group panel so that they can be helped to guide through the process and give you accurate response to what they perceived when they were wearing the items as far as wearer trials are concerned. So that's another service that HeiQ offers just in advance or in addition to the actual manufacturing and providing of the chemistry. Next slide, please. So the odor emission test is the ISO standard 17299. So what we use here is diluted propionic acid, as I'd mentioned before, the main odoriferous metabolite in human sweat. So we've used the acronym artificial body odor solution. Then inoculated the VOC into the textile directly to simulate the absorption of the sweat. And then we measured the desorption of that volatile with the introduction of the FFL. And then again, when it's washed, you refresh the reservoir, so to speak, and you start all over again. So durable, long-lasting, wash-durable odor control solution. Next slide, please. So how we tried and how we always try to make a difference at HeiQ. Moving on. We have USDA certified bio-based material. Interestingly enough, the requirement from the USDA is to have only 20 to 22% to be certified as USDA bio-based certified. The content of this technology is actually 72% bio-based. It is a byproduct from the food processing industry. So it is readily available, it is renewable, it is sustainable. Again, it's a non-antimicrobial, does not have a biocidal effect. It is silver-free odor control, so free from pesticide and biocide compliance issues. And as mentioned previously, any of you from the Scandinavian or the Scandic regions understand the regulatory next to impossibility of introducing any silver-based product into that market. It addresses body odors as well as the accumulated effect on synthetic fibers, and we quickly touched on polypropylene being one of the most offensive of those fibers. So you help to eliminate and get rid of what's commonly called permastink. Durable to multiple washes. One of the services that HeiQ also offers is in-region technical support, where our technical teams will visit the mill and run through the application process to assure that it's applied correctly as per the TDS and is easily durable out to 50x home laundries. Again, applicable to both natural cellulosic fibers and synthetic fibers and blends thereof, as well as elastane-rich textiles. Extremely efficient and durable. Non-dangerous goods. What we've also noticed from ourselves is the logistics impact that we've seen because of COVID with availability of containers to ship product around the world. Because this is a non-dangerous good, you don't need any of the special certificates or requirements necessary to transport hazardous goods. So from your logistics teams at the mills, the getting and transporting of the chemistry is virtually seamless. Just as a reminder, we have locations all throughout the world, in Asia, in Sub-Sahara, Southeast Asia, North America, Europe. We have facilities everywhere, so the transport of the material is seamless to begin with. Again, no impact on the traditional textile attributes that designers or developers are looking for. So hand feel, color fastness, crocking, elasticity, tensile strength, breathability, none of which those are in any way adversely affected. And at HeiQ, we always build our various ingredient brand products to be used with building block functionality. So if you wanted to add more than one feature to the garment or the hosiery or the pair of shoes, you could add odor control plus moisture management plus hand feel modification, whatever you want from a creative perspective, from a development and design perspective. Again, ease of application. If it's not easy to use at the mill level, you get considerable pushback from our mill partners as far as using something that needs extra work. As I mentioned before, this is applied via padding or via exhaust. So incredibly easy to use and very widely accepted means of applying technology to textiles. And again, readily combined with our other HeiQ functionalities. Next slide, please. Consumer benefits. They keep the textiles naturally odor-free. Again, from a sustainability perspective, it's bio-based odor control. Reducing the development of odor keeps your textile fresh, enhanced freshness. These are all acceptable and legally vetted claims that can be used by your marketing team. In conjunction, we can also offer marketing support. Not to say that we can market your brand better than yourselves, but we can certainly add expertise from a compelling story message to the consumer. Keeps your garments fresher for longer, keeps the home fabrics fresh for longer in a home textile perspective, so less washing, less water use, and finally long-lasting freshness. Next slide. What we also offer, we have full hang tag programs, we have graphic illustrations, we can offer online video support to your sales teams, to your consumer-facing marketing at the brand level. We offer co-branded PR, packaging design, customized videos, sales training. You can share in our consumer polling and in-store display tools. So all of which helping HeiQ be your complete innovations and service provider. We're not just selling you a drum of chemistry or a tote of chemistry. We are offering you a complete solution from the research, design, development, manufacturing of the actual chemistry, then the sales support and the marketing support. When you're a success, obviously we are, and we can grow that mutually beneficial relationship between our two organizations. Regulatory coverage of HeiQ Fresh FL. This is the easy part actually compared to the rest of it. We are compliant with EU REACH, US TSCA, METI in Japan, and all the others on the list there. We're Blue Sign approved, of course. We are Ocotex conforming, and we are USDA certified bio-based. Also compliant with ZDHC, so fully ticked all the boxes on the regulatory and compliance side and labeling thereof for the technology. That's it, wrapping up. Happy to answer questions. Hope you found it informative. And again, I look forward to seeing you all face to face in the coming months as we emerge from our current global situation.
Yes, thank you, Tim, so much for the presentation. We have a couple of questions. The first one is, it can take how many washes?
Oh, as I mentioned in the presentation a couple of times, we've seen easily out to 50 washings. We haven't had any brand partners requesting longer, but I don't see any reason why it couldn't last more than 50 washings. Most of our brand partners request 25x home launderings as their internal brand requirement and standard, but we have seen easily 50 washings.
The next one is this product FDA certified?
It doesn't need to be because it is not a biocide. So there's no need for Food and Drug Administration approval. It is bio-based certified, but it does not need any other regulatory requirement. It's not a biocide and it's not an FR product, so it doesn't need any other compliance requirements.
Perfect, thank you. Unfortunately, we run out of time for this session, but we'll make sure to answer all the questions we didn't have time to by email. And the presentation will be shared on our website, and we'll make sure to share with you by email as well. Thank you again for your time, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and healthy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.